Hello, everybody. I am going to teach you the lesson that I taught to your math group because you missed it. So, you naughty little children, you're so lucky that you're wonderful in so many ways. Okay, so we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing integers, which is just another name for positive and negative numbers, right? So, multiplying and dividing part's basically the same. If you know your math facts or have access to a calculator, the numbers, whether they're positive or negative, are going to have the same answer. So 5 times 2 is 10. The part that we need to be a little bit smart about is whether, kind of went the wrong direction, is whether we know what the sign should be to that answer. So one way to remember it is this. When I am multiplying or dividing, if I have two numbers that are the same sign, the answer is positive. It's really that simple. If they're the same sign, whether they're both positive, or they're both negative, the answer will be positive because they have the same signs. So let's look at a couple examples of that. 5 times 4, I bet you know that is 20, and we know that's a positive 20. But let's look at this one. -5 times -4. Okay, you need to ask yourself, are those signs the same? Yeah, they are. They're both negative. So even though they're both negative, our answer will be positive, because if you have two things with the same signs, the answer is positive. Okay, let's look at another example. Notice in pink there, it says if you have different signs, your answer is negative. So if I have a positive and a negative, or a negative and a positive that I'm multiplying or dividing, the answer will be negative. So let's look at an example. So 5 times -4. Are they the same sign? No, they're not. They're different signs, so the answer is negative. -5 times 4. Are they the same sign? No, they're not. They're different. The 5 is negative and the 4 is positive, so the answer is negative. Because when we have different signs, the answer is negative. Okay. There's another way you can remember this, and it's called Mr. Multiplivision. Josh said we should just call it the mouse dude or the multiply dude or something. Anyway, we do need a new name. I don't like Mr. Multiplivision. So how this works is, on your paper, lots of kids do this. On their paper, you can draw a little triangle. And at the top, you put two minuses, and at the bottom, you put a plus sign. It looks like a little mouse almost, right? So once you have that down, then you can use it to help you know what sign your answer will be. So when multiplying two integers, you're going to cover the signs that you're using. So in our example, 5 times -3, my 5 is positive and my 3 is negative. So I'm going to cover up, literally cover up, a positive and a negative sign. And then whatever's left over, which is a minus, tells me what my answer will be, right? So I cover up the positive and the negative to match my +5 and a -3, and then whatever's sticking out over there, still showing up, tells me that my answer is -15. Let's look at another one. So we're going to cover up, we've got two negatives. So we're going to cover up two negatives, and the thing that's left is a positive, a plus sign. So that tells me that my answer will be positive. Okay? Those are two different ways that you can remember what sign your answer will be. Okay, so whether you know your math facts or not, what I'd like you to do is to look at these problems and just predict, is the answer going to be negative or positive? So if we look at this one, -10 times +4. Ask yourself, are they the same signs? No, they're not. They're different signs, so the answer is negative, right? And we can also look at this little triangle, and because I have a -10 and a +4, I'm going to cover up the plus and the minus, imaginarily speaking, And then I notice there's one more minus left. So that also tells me that the answer is negative. So the first one, the answer is negative 40. Take a look at the rest of these just for a second. I'll just give you a minute. You don't have to pause the video. And see if you can just predict what the answers will be, either positive or negative. If you know your math facts and you can give us the answer, that's great. But if you can't, just predict which is negative and which is positive. Okay, so if we look at the second one, it says positive 2 times negative 5. So a positive and a negative equal a negative, right? So the answer is negative 10. The next one is negative 3 times negative 6. A negative times a negative is a positive. Those signs are the same, so the answer is positive. So negative 3 times negative 6 is positive 18. Last one, negative 3 times 4. They're different signs, so that answer is going to be negative. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. All right. Division, hey, guess what? It works the same way. So if I have two negatives, I have negative 48 divided by negative 4, my answer will be, say it to yourself, what do you think? Negative or positive? Negative 48 divided by negative 4, they're both negative, so my answer is positive, and it happens to be positive 12. Okay? Here's another one. 24 divided by negative 3, those signs are not the same, they're different. And if they're different signs, then my answer is negative. So that's negative 8. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'm going to go through these next slides, and I'm going to tell you right off the bat that 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, so you don't have to worry about the math fact itself. We're going to use 3 and 7. But what I want you to do as we go through these slides is to yourself, just say, is it going to be a positive 21 or is it going to be a negative 21? Okay, how about this one? I bet you said negative 21, or did you say positive 21? Which one did you say? You see those negatives in there, and that throws a lot of kids off, but there's two of them, right? So if they have the same sign, if they're both negative, your answer is a positive. So negative 3 times negative 7 is positive 21. How about this one? What do you think? There's a positive 3 and a negative 7. So a positive and a negative multiplying together gives us a negative answer. So the answer is negative 21. How about this one? Signs are different. The signs are different. The answer is negative. So it's negative 21. Okay, now we know that 3 times 7 is 21. So that means we know that 21 divided by 3 is 7. I'll just give you that right off the bat. So what do you think about this one? 21, it's a positive 21, divided by negative 3. Is my answer going to be 7 or negative 7? I hope you said negative 7 because we've got a positive and a negative. They're different signs, so our answer is negative. How about this one? Negative 21 divided by negative 3. They're both negative. So our answer is positive 7. Negative 21 divided by 3. We got a negative and a positive there. They're different signs, so our answer has to be negative 7. Okay, so these next ones you get to be a little bit creative. So a multiplication, we're looking for a multiplication or division problem that has a negative integer in it with the answer that's on the slide. So let me show you what I mean, give you an example. So there's negative 20. So I want you to think of a math problem that's either multiplication or division that has a negative in it that ends up with negative 20. So if you gave me this problem, I could give you something like negative 2 times 10. Because I know that 2 times 10 is 20. And I know that if I have one negative and one positive, my answer is negative. So negative 2 times 10 would give me this answer. Can you think of any others? We looked at 5 and 4 earlier, so maybe negative 5 times 4. Negative 4 times 5. You know, we could also do division. How about Negative 40 divided by 2. 40 is negative, 2 is positive. That gives us a negative answer. Okay, so that's the kind of thing we're looking for here. So how about 12? We could just say 3 times 4, but let's make it a little more challenging and throw some kind of negative in there. I bet some of you came up with negative 6 times negative 2. I'm just guessing. I bet some people came up with negative 3 times negative 4. And I bet some people even came up with like negative 24 divided by negative 2. All kinds of solutions there. But what you need is two negatives together to make a positive, okay? Next one, negative 4. Think of a math problem, multiplication or division, that would give us the answer of negative 4. Now, I know some of you are going for the easy route and you're saying negative 2 times 2, and you're right. Negative 2 times positive 2 would be negative 4. What else can you come up with? How about negative 4 divided by positive 1? Or positive 4 divided by negative 1? Or negative 16 divided by 4? All kinds of solutions there. Okay, how about 10? See if you can come up with a problem that has a negative number in it and the answer is positive 10. So I bet some of you are thinking negative 5 times negative 2 or negative 2 times negative 5, and you're right. How about negative 100 divided by negative 10? That would be another way to do it. Negative 10 times negative 1. Negative 30 divided by negative 3. All of those would give you a positive 10. Negative 6. What could you come up with for this one? How about 2 times negative 3? Negative 12 divided by positive 2, right? All kinds of things. And we'll go to the last one, which is 30. Negative 5 times negative 6. What else? Negative 10 times negative 3. All kinds of things. Okay. So finally, I want you to just kind of remember what are the two different ways that can help us know what sign our answer should be when we're multiplying or dividing. So the first way we talked about was same signs. So if you have two numbers that are the same signs, whether you're multiplying or dividing, whether they're both positive or they're both negative, if they're the same sign, your answer is positive. If they're different signs, a positive and a negative, your answer is negative. Or you can use this fella. We've got a negative 6 and a positive 5, so we're going to cover up the negative and the positive, and we're going to end up with a minus sign, which tells us that our answer is negative. And we can also do it like this. Negative 6 times negative 5. We're going to cover up both negatives because both of those are negative. That tells me that my answer is positive. Okay? Alrighty. So that is what I have for you. I hope that is helpful. You will have an assignment and or a quiz. I haven't completely decided yet, but I wanted to get this all taped up and videoed up for you so that you can get this lesson on your own. Okay. See you guys soon.